first question I have is just give me a little background on NotaryPro. What's your role? How many people are in the organization? Who does it serve? That kind of stuff.
So just a quick overview of the company. So the company was started in 2016 by a guy named Rob Olney. He did this as a side gig in Canada, in Ottawa. When he's based in Ottawa, he kind of he put an ad in the equivalent, Kijiji's equivalent of Craigslist here, or something like that. And then started to get customers. It kind of grew from his location, his home, to another home, to so on. And eventually had about 5 or 10 notaries under his belt. I joined, and a partner of mine, Charlie, joined in 2020 and saw the opportunity to kind of grow this market. So at the time, in early 2020, it was just in person. So there's a difference between notary, and I won't go too in depth into it, notary in Canada and one in the US. Anyone in the US can be a notary public. You see this at all the banks, FedEx, UPS. You can find a notary down the street, just throw a quarter and you find one. In Canada, it's not the same way. It's only, at the time, lawyers could only be notary publics. And so it's really hard to find a notary public when you needed one. And so we decided to build a company in terms of, I wouldn't say Uber type, but basically a active list and directory to find various notaries in your community, basically the matchmaker for in-person notaries. We had the idea at the time is to push, similar to the States, online notarization. So it's called RON, Remote Online Notarization. COVID hit in March when we came in, a couple months after, and within 3 days we pivoted from in-person to in-person and remote online. signNow was part of that journey because we looked at different platforms, what to use. signNow kind of fit the bill. I don't remember, to be honest, and obviously I'm on the record, but don't quote me. I don't remember exactly the criteria we used it, but we thought it was the best for our needs. We got an account, we started doing it online, and then that was kind of the genesis for a remote online notarization solution offering. So we can say that signNow was part of that journey for us in building our RON. And then after that, since then, we've been building more and more, getting momentum, building the company, and signNow has been an integrated part of our remote online notarization solution. As of now, we went from just a handful a week to quite a few. Honestly, I don't want to disclose numbers because I don't want our competitors to know too much, but we can say that we've been growing hand over fist in terms of our service offering, which then obviously part of it. So now what we've done is we have our own platform, but integrated with signNow at the moment on our own platform. And the advantage, certainly, we hear from two ends, which is the notaries who use it and the clients who use it. For the notaries, it's an easy platform to use. It's intuitive, but the also part is there's functionalities that have auto tagging, things to make the job and process much easier. It tends to be sometimes repetitive, but if there's a way to speed the way of tagging and notarizing documents, it helps our notaries, and we've gotten that positive feedback. For clients, super easy layout. They land on it. It's quite clear where to sign. They sign it. We haven't heard anything negative about it. And obviously, once I'm on the record, but don't quote me, obviously clients don't say how great the e-signing solution, typically it's not in their mind, but they all appreciate, as you can see, 4.9 points, how great the journey is, and that's part of signNow.
Right, it kind of, if the customers are quiet, it means that it's working. It's the kind of thing where they chime in if something's wrong, often with something like this. What's the situation? Obviously, the situation was a deadly global pandemic that got you to look for an e-signature solution. Were there any other, non-COVID related things that were had been a nagging problem for a while, and the pandemic sort of sealed the deal? But was there anything functional in your office that would have led you to an e-signature tool anyways?
So, that's a bit of a difficult question to ask, to be honest. Not really. We've always had, before the pandemic, the idea of moving into online notarization. The States have been doing it since 2000. I couldn't remember, 6 or 8 or something like that. It's a couple of years ahead of us in Canada. It's always been on our radar. The pandemic pushed it much faster in terms of us pushing it out. Now, what's happening now is the adoption of it, like RON for our client base. It's a new product. It's like online buying. I don't know how old you are, Ben, but like in the early 2000s, buying stuff online was a bit scary. It's, there's an apprehension, scare part of it. That's slowly become overcoming, and e-signing is becoming kind of a norm nowadays, just e-signing in any sense. Mm-hmm. So we are starting to see a better adoption, less questions, less fear, and then it's starting to become sooner. Paper is starting to become almost extinct. I wouldn't say extinct, but less and less.
Yeah,
in terms of usage.
I don't use paper in an average day myself. Yeah, I mean, COVID changed our attitude on, changed everybody's attitude on digitization. Mm-hmm. Are there any other, not even related to signNow, is NotaryPro, are there other ways that you digitally transformed during the pandemic, or other ways that you plan to, even beyond eSignature?
Yeah, I mean, we are upgrading our remote online notarization platform. So we're looking at adding more features, upgrading the user experience, adding to the user experience, targeting new audiences as well, who might not be who are still paper-based, and trying to convince them to move them to like e-based, basically signing solutions. So I hope that answers that particular question. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's pretty, the future of document signing is online. It's going to take another 10 years to fully transferred that way, but it will be, and this is why NotaryPro wants to be on the cusp of that.
Yeah. How do you think signNow, in your opinion, how do you think signNow has helped you to be, the notarization platform in Canada? How does it make NotaryPro stand out from any potential competition?
Yeah, so that's really interesting. To be honest, I think the platform that we saw with signNow in Canada, it's really comprehensive in terms of service offering, easy to use, intuitive. We've never experienced the client that says, I just don't get how it looks or it's done. It's quite good. With that's provided a lot of positive feedback. So everyone that we've worked with has a good client experience, which then leads to word of mouth, which then leads to repeat business, which et cetera, and that moves forward and forward and forward and creates your user base. So that is the advantage of signNow as being leader. I couldn't tell you what our competitors use, whether they might be on signNow or not, but what I can say for us is the ease, the functionality, the ability to have the program online at 99.9% of the time works quite well for us. Great. And it's helped us grow.
Great. I want to talk a little bit about the process of implementing signNow, and then we can move on to some results after that. But what was it like for you and your team getting signNow in place and set up?
Yeah, so I mean, now I'm answering in a non-tech way. So we had it at the beginning of kind of just using signNow as an individual platform with video separate. Now we've integrated a platform that we have video and signNow embedded into our own platform, which creates a more seamless, unique, efficient user experience, and much quicker as well for the notary tagging as well as the customer coming in. Once we got the APIs working, it went pretty smoothly, and now it's working kind of just like a greased up machine without any issues. Yeah, I think you guys, from what I heard, you guys were there. I think we had some support coming in and helping based on our questions. Like, you guys had answered, either your sales team, Mike, or some of the tech people, which I don't know. I haven't been on the tech team on developing, but we're there to answer our questions. Even though I'm sure you guys have, 500,000 clients, we did get responses for that. Yeah.
That's great. This might be, a simple answer, but, you mentioned when your clients are quiet, it means things are running smoothly. Do you have any insight on the learning curve for your customers using the signNow feature with NotaryPro?
Yeah. So what the advantage for our function is that there's video contact with the notary. So a lot of the questions that the clients come and ask us, our notaries can answer via video, kind of like you and I here. So that's one thing. I can't give you specific details. I'm not on the calls, but generally it's kind of, where do you click on it? Oh, it's right there. There's a little start button. It goes straight to the location. At the end of the day, there's very little hesitation or issue in terms of signing the document. We've never had in our lifetime an element of, I don't know where to sign, because I think the user interface is quite efficient and clean in finding out where to sign. It's integrated quite well into our platform. It's a smooth experience. We don't see any of those particular issues.
Well, obviously you're not using signNow, for inter-company workings. It's all client facing, but does it make your life easier in any way?
Yeah, I mean, so there's a lot of functionality in it that makes our team's life much easier. So auto tagging. So we have in our business about 15 or 20 documents that constantly come through our pipeline. And then basically once it's uploaded automatically to to signNow, all they have to do is kind of auto tag. I believe there's an auto tag function or something, and then it just auto tags all of the specific elements. and it's ready to go. You've saved a few minutes timing on it. That adds up with, once you start to do hundreds of documents a week, that adds up significantly in terms of time saving onto that. So that's where I can say signNow really added, the benefit of that is adding that type of functionality on it as well. I mean, obviously the quantitative part, your upkeep, I mean, the system has been up, it's been up 99.9% of the time. There's very little downside. That adds to our, once it's down, we don't make money. We have a problem, but so that's reduced in that sense. So that's quite good.
What would your customers' experience be if signNow wasn't in place? Is there like a particular use case that you can describe, one with signNow and one with whatever they would have had to do if there was no e-signing option?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if there was no e-signing solution, we wouldn't be able to offer RON, our RON solution. That'd have to be in person, wet seal, it's called, paper and pen.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it would have been either find another solution or build our own at an immense, cost as well. But we wouldn't have the level that signNow has, where we can integrate it. I mean, cost versus development cost. It's a benefit for us to have signNow integrated at the moment. Yeah.
Is there like a use case that's common among your customers? Like, what would you say is like a classic NotaryPro / signNow use case?
I mean, the use case is the best thing I can say is that they need to get a document signed, and a lot of times it's a very ad hoc, very quick type of turnover for clients. So the buying mode is, I need it done now. I want the solution to be offered now, and then moving it forward. And so when they're able to upload, prepay the document, they're able to get their documents notarized within technically 1 hour if we have availability of our staff. The use case would be predominantly it's done so quick for them that they're kind of impressed, to be honest. I can't give you specific details, but they need to get something done really quick. We have that platform, they're able to sign it. The turnover is very quick. And people are just mystified by how efficient, how great it is, how user-friendly as well the platform is, including the e-signing.
Yeah, I guess we can wrap it up, but do you have an estimate of how many people are using RON, your RON services?
So I won't be divulging the full number. I can say it is a couple hundred per week.
Okay.
We've grown it significantly, and it is a service offering that eventually will become the mainstream, I think.
Okay, so more people are doing in person still than, okay.
Yeah, it is. And then, so, keep in mind that notary publics come from the Roman Empire. It's a 2,000-year-old industry, so it takes a little time to disrupt it. But it is happening. In the States, it's happening as well. Notarize is the big case as well, but it is happening in Canada. And I think it's just time, online buying, online shopping at the time. Barely anyone would buy anything. We use a credit card online was scary, but now they don't even think twice. You click a button and you have pre-order. So right. It is in the process of doing it. And I think with time, the mindset of we can do it online will become just a general conception of the users, of the buyers of this service.
Do you have any metrics or, on time saved, on waste reduced, and any kind of insight, quantitative insight? I can tell you efficiency and turnaround
can be within 1 hour, or less. I can say that we are growing, the service offering is growing about 5 to 10% per month.
Is there an issue of human error, when you do it in person? I'm not as familiar with this whole industry, but does remote online notarization reduce human error, or is that never really a huge problem because we're dealing with lawyers who are pretty...
No, there is still human error, and that is obviously a subject. So it is human error. I couldn't say reduces, but the turnover for correction is much faster on that sense. So the other thing probably you can add, and I forgot to mention this, we thought was quite impressive too, and what's needed is a audit log after the notarization. So once you notarize a document, it does come with a final audit log. That's super important for us. It gives the integrity and reliability of the document that was signed and authenticity of it as well. And so all of our clients get that audit log at the end, and they use that as a showcase, as this is the proof that, signed and sealed once it was signed.